Yo guys, what is up? It's your boy Hotshot Gaming here today, and today we are going to talk about Firewall Ultra, the #1 AAA title that came out for the PlayStation VR2, the game that came out for that. While we're going to just talk about that while we're playing some finals gameplay. So if you guys haven't known, that First Contact Entertainment, the AAA title under Sony exclusive for the PlayStation VR2, the Firewall Ultra game, First Contact Entertainment have announced that they are going to be closing, that they're going to be shutting down at the end of the year. Now, this is pretty crazy news that's come into the effect, which is pretty crazy, because these guys have been around for almost around about they've been working on a lot of stuff for almost around 8 years of working with most of the amazing team, because they were just saying in a post that I found out, that they were saying, after almost 8 years of working with the most amazing team I've ever had the pleasure of being part of, I'm sad to announce that we'll be closing our company First Contact Entertainment by the end of the year. The lack of support for the VR within the industry has especially taken its role as a AAA VR game developer. We are just not able to justify the expenses needed on going forward. We are a team of fearless individuals willing to push new technologies to its limits. I am extremely proud of the team and grateful to our investors, our partners, and of course our community of dedicated and passionate players. It's been a wild ride. Now, obviously, this is kind of worrying, because basically, I had the first PlayStation VR when it first came out. I had the first Firewall 0 Hour, and when I first ever had the first ever VR and I played Firewall 0 Hour, it was a really good game. It had leveling up that you could do. It had gun levels, so obviously you had to unlock all your attachments and stuff. It didn't require like on the new Firewall Ultra, where you had to do assignments. You had to unlock stuff for the attachments on the guns with required by using the weapon, and it was just a very good game. Firewall 0 Hour. It was a lot better. It was a lot good. And I think where obviously the new Firewall Ultra came out, I think where they went wrong with that game is because it just, when it first came out, it was a bit buggy. You couldn't join squads straight away. People didn't get the menu system. You had to go to one place to do, to sort out your loadout. You had to go to another place for assignments. You had to go to the gun range to put attachments on your gun, and it was too much. And obviously as well, there wasn't skins for your characters. There was only skins for the gun in Firewall Ultra. And then obviously there was more bugs of players being wiped. And I think this is where all went wrong with Firewall Ultra, and that's why I reckon that's where First Contact Entertainment, I think, have gone wrong, and that's where they've lost most of their players, because I know one of my mate knows a couple of the dedicated players, and obviously my friends have stayed on the previous Firewall 0 Hour and have played that a lot more than what they did on Firewall Ultra. So there's still people, when I was still playing it, there were still people still playing Firewall Ultra, but there just wasn't, I don't think there just wasn't as much, and as the dedicated experienced players that were playing Firewall 0 Hour. Now, the other thing that's worrying me is, because I don't know if you guys noticed or remember what happened with Drive Club VR, where obviously Drive Club, when it first came out, you could go online, you could play against other players, and obviously that game in the end didn't do well. not many people were playing it anymore, and Sony was like, we're just going to shut the servers down. They were just going to shut them down. They gave us a date for that, and they just shut the servers down. Now this is where like most of you might not be worried about, obviously, about Firewall Ultra, but they might end up doing the same with Firewall Ultra. They may end up shutting the servers down for that, but I do not know if that will correspond to going over to shutting the servers for Firewall 0 Hour as well, because obviously it's the same company. That's the previous game, and that is this game. I'm gonna say if Sony ends up doing like what they did with Drive Club, you know, obviously shutting that down, I'm a bit worried if they're going to be shutting down the servers for Firewall Ultra and Firewall 0 Hour. So that will be pretty worrying. I'm assuming that's going to annoy a lot of players, especially myself, because obviously I bought the top edition of Firewall Ultra, and obviously I bought money for the extra characters to get them as well. And it's a bit annoying as well, because obviously they brought out the first DLC, the Deadline DLC, and like I said, they might not bring out the other DLCs now. We do not know if they're going to bring out the other DLCs, where they might not have the funding for it, or well, they've said they haven't got the funding to make anything else, but we do not know if we're going to get the rest of those other DLCs that will be coming out, or whether we even have the you know, the servers staying online. So that's going to be very worrying for that, because obviously there was another leak on it with the you know, they've had the support for many years, live servers, and the interviews, and you know, the developer experiences. But also when they bring out the, you know, the developer released the Operation Bloodline earlier in the months with the Firewall Ultra post-release sessions. But we don't know if the contact of the developer is going to, you know, whether he's going to have the future for the remaining seasons for the considerable future. So it's going to be a bit worrying about, you know, whether they're going to bring out the extra content, or whether the servers are going to stay on after that time when the contact gets closed down. So this is going to be the next main thing. What is, you know, because obviously with First Contact Entertainment, when they go, is Sony gonna get another, you know, AAA PlayStation only title shooter? Because in my eyes, that was the main PlayStation VR shooter that most of the PlayStation players played, because I've kind of noticed that when I've been playing these other games like ALVO and what is it, Pavlov and Breachers, that I've noticed if I do if I turn off crossplay, there's not many PSVR players playing those third-party titles. Where if I turn on the crossplay, it's you play with more PC players. So it's going to be interesting if, you know, if there's going to be another, you know, if there's going to be another game that is going to replace Firewall 0 Hour as a AAA title. We do not know, and for those players that were dedicated to Firewall 0 Hour, and maybe some of the ones that are going to be playing Firewall Ultra, we do not know. If the servers do go, where are these guys going to go? Will they give up on Firewall entirely? We do not know. I had one friend that was obviously devastated about First Contact Entertainment, you know, pulling the plug. And luckily for him, he played Breachers. He bought that, and it's actually kept him playing the VR, which is really, really good, because if 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 First Contact Entertainment, right, is gonna shut their servers for their games, I'm gonna be a bit worried what's gonna happen to the PSVR, and whether there even be a next PSVR. Will there be a PSVR 3? We do not know, because where First Contact Entertainment is going, will Sony bring out another VR? We do not know. I do not know how popular the other games are, but I know Firewall was a very popular PlayStation VR and a VR, well, not VR2, because obviously Ultra didn't make enough money because people didn't like the game, and it didn't start off very well, Firewall Ultra. So, you know, is there going to be another game that's going to replace that to make the PSVR 2 come back strong, or is this going to be it for you know, the PSVR, and will Sony give up on it? Because obviously I've noticed Sony doesn't, I feel like Sony doesn't like it when companies either, you know, like, I know Sony wasn't very happy about giving freaking refunds back for Battlefield 2042, so is Sony going to be really annoyed about what's happened with, you know, First Contact Entertainment? Because obviously that was a big game for the PSVR 2. I feel that was really big game. Excuse me, just had a drink. So, you know, I'm hoping they keep the servers up at least, or Sony can support keeping the Sony servers up. It would have been good if you know, if they could have maybe done like a backwards compatibility to have Firewall 0 Hour to come onto the PSVR 2, or they may have thought we should have just done a remaster of Firewall 0 Hour onto the PSVR 2. Because in my eyes, I thought Firewall Ultra was going to be the same game as Firewall 0 Hour. Firewall Ultra I thought was going to be the same as Firewall 0 Hour, but unfortunately it just wasn't the same. I just remember getting it the first day, and I remember coming in and I was like, what the fuck is this? Why have I got to go here to do this? Why have I got to go here to do that? I was like, why didn't you just keep everything like Firewall 0 Hour? And then obviously they had the bugs and the wipes, and this is where I think a lot of players got really annoyed with the game. And obviously, you know, they were going to bring out other game modes as well. I think they were going to bring, I think if I remember rightly, you know, they were, I think they were saying they were going to bring out like a ranked system, or a system where it was like hardcore, where you could like reload manually and do all that kind of stuff. But obviously we don't know if we're going to get promised about these other seasons. I'm hoping we are. It's a bit disappointing. And I just hope, you know, like, it's a shame. I did really like this game, Firewall 0 Hour, and, you know, it's a shame about Firewall Ultra. I didn't mind the game. Like, I enjoyed the game, but obviously Firewall 0 Hour was a 100%, excuse me, was 100% better. And like I said, a lot of my friends, like, they didn't really touch Ultra at all. And it's pretty crazy. And like I said on another leak of this website as well, they were just saying First Contact Entertainment, the studios behind the PSVR, allocated by Firewall 0 Hour, the PSVR 2 predecessor sequel, Firewall Ultra, will close down at the end of the year. The team in the industry overall lack of virtual reality support as the reason. As a AAA title reality game developer, we are just not able to justify the expenses needed going forward, as the statement said. So obviously they know they haven't done well, and it didn't do well. It just didn't work out, Firewall Ultra. It's a shame. And obviously it just lacked the funds, and it's a shame for them. I wish all the best for the team and the developer, whether they can try and, you know, maybe do something else, or maybe someone, you know, maybe a different, you know, developers or publishers can go in to maybe, you know, maybe someone else can step in to maybe do a better, you know, maybe make a better AAA game like Firewall was, you know, to replace them. That would be pretty good if you know, if another title or a developer or a publisher can come in and, you know, make another, you know, Firewall type game, or, you know, bring it back, you know. But we just don't know. We just don't know if that is ever going to happen or will happen, or whether the developer is even going to support the rest of the DLC until the end of the year, of when obviously it gets shut down. I personally think, because of Drive Club situation and that got shut down, I really feel like the servers are going to get shut down. I'm not saying that as a guarantee, but I'm just looking at as Drive Club's a view of it. I reckon the server's going to close down. For Firewall Ultra, don't necessarily know for Firewall 0 Hour, even though people will probably not give a shit if the servers were closed down for Firewall Ultra, as long as the Firewall 0 Hour server stayed up. But obviously it's the same company, so I just feel like it could close down. I really do. So like I said, it's a shame. I can understand why it's closed down, because obviously it just didn't make enough. Most people played it once or twice and was like, what the fuck is this? As well, when it came out, most of the same maps as well. Maps that we already sort of played, but were a little bit open as well. And there was like little extra bit areas that were opened up as well. And it was like, do you know what I mean? You'd expect from a new game as well, you'd expect new maps right off the bat, but obviously they didn't do that. So you know, it's just a shame, and it could have been better for them, or they could have just looked and said, because I kind of feel like, in a sense, they should have just remastered Firewall 0 Hour and then just added the extra shit on. So they should have just made the same game and then just went, right, we make the same game, the same layout, everything, make everything the same, but for the PSVR2 version, for the controller inputs and all that kind of stuff. And I reckon if they would have put all the same stuff in, the way you leveled up, the way you got the skins for your characters, the skins for your guns, the way you done the guns, the leaderboards, going into the lobby, setting all your stuff up, and all that kind of stuff, and then added the extra content on, yeah, a bit like what Call of Duty done as an add-on, pretty much the same freaking game, but an add-on, I reckon the game would have done better. I reckon the game would have done really well if they kept the same game, just copied and pasted, put it onto PSVR 2. If they could have, it might have been tricky trying to do all that. I don't know. I'm not a freaking game designer, so it might have been a tough ass one. But you know, I reckon the game would have been a lot better and would have sold better if they would have just remastered it. And I reckon a lot of people would probably agree and say, why didn't you just remaster the game? It would have been so much better, and then added on the extra stuff. So like kept all the menu and everything the same, but added the extra characters on, new maps, you know, all the different ways, you know, like the free aiming and stuff, and the way you aim the grenade and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. Because like it really annoyed me, this game, because like the ADS aiming, when you pull down either the fucking, it was either the L2 or the R2. I didn't even use that shit. I fucking hated that shit. I just kept using the free aim. The free aim was better, and that was on the regular Firewall. They didn't have the ADS L2 R2 shit in the previous one. And it was fine for aiming and shooting people, and it was the same with this one. Like they just put confusing shit into this new one, and they should have just left it as it was, remastered it, made it for the PSVR 2, done like, you know, like what look at ALVO. They just went, right, £5 upgrade, boom, there you go. That's what they should have done with Firewall 0 Hour. They should have just went, boom, bring it back out, £5 upgrade. We're gonna add extra content and shit, and I reckon people would have loved it. I reckon people would have loved it, absolutely. Kept the same game, maybe even resetted people to make it a bit more interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, actually, to be honest, I think ALVO did that. So, like, it was like, right, £5 upgrade. If you didn't have the game, it would be like 30, 40 quid or something like that. Again, you know, for people that didn't have the game. And then £5 upgrade, you got to start all over again. No, it's all the same game, but you got to start again, and that leaderboards, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to add extra content and everything. I reckon people would have loved it. I would have loved it. I would have loved having the same game, right, but on the PSVR 2, and then them adding the DLC and giving us all new stuff. Because it just would have been so much better. like non-confusing for people on day one. Like I just didn't, like I said before, I just didn't understand why you had to go here, there, everywhere to fucking do one thing. And like lobbies and that taking ages to do stuff and that. It was just it was just a shame. It's a shame to see them shutting down. And yeah, we just don't know what's going to happen. We just do not know what is going to happen. And I wish them all the best, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you think. Whether do you think one, at the end of the year when the studio shuts down, do you think they're gonna shut the servers down? Or comment, do you think they're gonna add the DLC, the extra DLC that they promised? Or comment thinking, do you think they're gonna keep the servers on for Firewall Ultra and Firewall 0 Hour, or do you reckon they'd just close the servers on Firewall Ultra only? Because like I said, I personally feel they're not going to keep the servers on. I think Sony, Sony with the way they did Drive Club is not going to do that. So, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you guys think they're going to keep it open? Do you guys think they're not going to keep it open? Do you think they're going to do the DLC like they said? Or whatever they're going to do on that, because it's getting a bit worrying now, because there's a lot of game studios that are shutting down. So, like, obviously we've had the day before, which was an absolute failure. That got the studio shut down after like 5 days it came out. And now we've got First Contact Entertainment, unfortunately, that's shutting down. It's a bit worrying if there's going to be more companies making these games and then shutting down. It's a bit worrying. We don't want any more of these games that come out and people buy them. You think about it, right? We've all paid about 40 to 50 quid for this game, Firewall 0 Hour, right? And then you think about it, right? If they close Firewall 0 Hour, yeah, most of the dedicated players won't give a shit about this, but like, you think about it, we've paid like 40, 50 quid for this game, right? And then if they close the servers down, that game is fucking useless. That game is Firewall Ultra is useless. It's an online game only. At least with Drive Club, you could do offline stuff. Now, if they close the servers, that's going to be a bit fucking bullshit. Because you think about it, we've got a game there that ain't even going to work. And then, obviously, I think there's even people moaning to Sony right now about if they close the contact, the developers are shutting down. We spent this money. Are we guaranteed to have the servers still up, even on Firewall 0 Hour? But, you know what I mean? You ain't going to get your money back from Firewall 0 Hour because it's been out for so long. But the people that bought Firewall Ultra, if they shut the servers down, surely Sony's got to, do something about that. If that's the case of, if they close down to the point where it's sooner, to the point where they go, right, we've closed down, that is it, servers, really quickly, to the point where, it's going to be a bit bullshit. Like, I might even contact Sony and be like, like the studio is going to be, shutting down. You know what I mean? Like, can I have my money back? Because I don't know if they're going to keep the servers up. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to be losing out. We're all going to be losing out on money. Do you know what I mean? Like, has anyone contacted Sony about this? You know what I mean? Like, we spent about, I think it was like 50 quid on Firewall Ultra. I bought the high edition. I think it was like 40, 50 quid. It might have been less than that. It might have been like 40. I can't remember how much standard edition was. But if you think about it, they're going to shut these servers. If they're going to shut these servers, not guaranteed. You know what I mean? I'm going to want my money back. You know what I mean? It's a useless game. And obviously, Sony doesn't like giving refunds at all. They hate it. And I know they hate it because they didn't like it when people wanted refunds for Battlefield 2042. Now, it's like I said, it's a shame. It's a shame. It's a real shame. And like I said, I'm going to leave it here, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully we'll get some more insight from the developer about this, about what's going to happen, whether they're going to bring out the extra DLC, whether the servers are going to stay up. I really feel like they're going to have to try and keep the servers up, because a lot of players are not going to like it, and they're going to want their money back from Sony. So this is going to be, you know, a wild one. So like I said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video about me talking about Firewall Ultra / Firewall 0 Hour, about the company shutting down. And like I said, please like this video, subscribe, and comment down below what you think is going to happen to the game, you know, and to the company. Like I said, it's a shame for the company. I wish all the people the best in the company. You know, I hope they all, you know, have a good future, and, you know, have a good Christmas, and you know, New Year and all that kind of stuff, and I hope the best for them in the future. It's just a shame what happened to them on this game, and like I said, I wish them all the best. And like I said, I hope for, you know, myself and, you know, the dedicated players in Firewall 0 Hour, that, you know, that they can, if that Sony or and the, you know, there's just in general, that the servers can stay on for the dedicated players, because the dedicated players love this game, and I love Firewall as well. Unfortunately, I can't play the old one anymore unless I get the first headset again. I don't have it anymore, but for my sake, hopefully they keep the servers up for Firewall Ultra. Not that I, you know, see any of the dedicated players on it, because they'll be all on Firewall 0 Hour, but I'm hoping for all the dedicated players' sake that the Contact Entertainment can, you know, if they do shut down, they can keep the servers up for the people on Firewall 0 Hour, and for any of us that do not have the first headset anymore, like myself, that can still play Firewall Ultra if they wish. Even if they don't do any of the season updates, as long as they keep the servers up, you know what I mean. I'm happy. I've bought the game, and I can still play Firewall Ultra, and the people on the people that still have the old headset can still play the Firewall 0 Hour. So yeah, so that's going to be me, guys. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and me talking about Firewall 0 Hour, First Contact Entertainment, the AAA title that is unfortunately shutting down. And like I said before, please like, subscribe, and comment down below what you think is going to happen to the game and what's going to happen to the servers. And yeah, and like I said, have a good Christmas, guys. Have a good New Year, and peace out, guys. Stay safe, and I will catch you guys later.